Morning to all. Last time we discussed about genus Salmonella, which is a part in the Enterobacteriaceae. Now we are going to see the another important genus, that is Shigella, which produces bacillary dysentery. Once you think of dysentery, you must understand what is the meaning of dysentery. Dysentery is nothing but blood and mucus in the motion. You will have the same condition you already completed in parasitology, if you remember, that is amoebiasis. So we will discuss what are the differences between this bacillary dysentery and amoebiasis at appropriate time. Now Shigella, it is gram-negative bacilli under the tribe Escherichiae, genus Shigella. We have 4 species. Shigella shiga, it was named in the beginning because Kiyoshi Shiga from Japan identified in 1896. Later it was changed to Shigella dysenteriae because it is the most dangerous among the 4 species. Shigella Flexner identified in 1900 from USA. Shigella Sony identified in 1915 from Denmark, and Shigella Boyd identified in 1931 from USA. So we have 4 species causing bacillary dysentery. Shiga, Flexner, Sony, and Boyd. These are exclusively parasites of human intestine and other primates. Bacillary dysentery, the process of loose motion mixed with blood and mucus. Morphology, non-flagellates, non-motile, non-capsulate. Sometimes they have microcapsule like staphylococci. Because when we are talking staphylococci, we say non-capsulated. But it has certain strains microcapsule. Here also, you will have microcapsules for certain species. They are gram-negative bacilli measuring 1 to 2, 3 into 0.5 micrometers. Shigella flexneri possesses type 1 fimbriae except in serotype 6. What are all these serotypes? We will see later when we are coming to biochemical reactions. Aerobes and facultative anaerobes. As you know, all the intestinal bacteria are aerobes or facultative anaerobes, sometimes anaerobes. Coming to culture media, generally on mutant agar, they will produce 2 to 3 micrometers size of colonies with circular, convex, smooth, translucent, like Salmonella. Coming to selective media, in the laboratory, we inoculate most important media for this Salmonella and Shigella, MacConkey agar, which produces non-lactose fermenting colonies. But Shigella sony is late lactose fermenter. If you keep more than 48 hours, Shigella sony produces lactose fermentation. deoxycholate citrate agar or DCA, we have again translucent colonies without black center. If you go back to Salmonella, on this media, Salmonella produce translucent colonies with black centers because of production of H2S. Here there is no production of H2S, hence there is no black center formation. Xylose lysine deoxycholate agar, XLD, a better selective medium than DCA, you will see red colored colonies. Now coming to Salmonella Shigella agar, this is the most or highly selective medium. In our labs, generally we are using this medium for both Salmonella and Shigella. They form colorless colonies without black centers. If black centers are formed, those are Salmonella. Actin enteric agar. This can be used for direct plating of fecal specimens which produce green colored colonies. Wilson Blair bismuth sulfate medium, useful for Salmonella but not useful here because we will not find any growth in this medium. Coming to enrichment media, that is selenite F broth, generally we use because we cannot directly inoculate the fecal specimen on the solid media, which we just discussed. That is what we use in the laboratory, mutant agar, MacConkey agar, Salmonella Shigella agar. So on these three media, we will not inoculate directly the fecal specimen which comes from the patient, because the normal flora like Escherichia coli or Klebsiella, they overgrow, hiding the Shigella colonies. Hence, we will not see any Shigella colonies. So we have to transfer that fecal specimen first in the selenite F liquid broth, incubate overnight. From there, you have to subculture on the solid media, which just we discussed. Coming to susceptibility to chemical agents, can survive for days in feces kept at refrigerated temperature at 4 degrees or in buffered glycerol saline. Killed by moist heat at 56 degrees centigrade for 1 hour, 1% phenol for 15 minutes. Shigella soni is more resistant to diverse conditions. Coming to antigenic structure, all Shigella possess O antigen, that is somatic antigen. A few strains possesses K antigen, that is capsular antigen, which I discussed in the beginning. These are non-capsulated. Still, some strains contains microcapsule. Coming to classification, on the basis of biochemical reactions and antigenic structure, which is a polysaccharide component of somatic antigen, Shigella are divided into 4 groups, A, B, C, D. What are these 4 groups? We will see. That is A, Shigella dysenteriae, which was called previously as Shigella striga. B is Shigella flexneri. C is Shigella boydii. D is Shigella soni. Mannitol is fermented by Shigella flexneri, Shigella boydii, and Shigella soni, but not by Shigella dysenteriae. Lactose only by Shigella soni, which ferments late. That's why they produce late LLF colonies. Sucrose, again, by only Shigella soni. Delsitol is variable Shigella boydii. It may ferment, it may not ferment. Indole is variable by Shigella dysenteriae, Shigella flexneri, Shigella boydii, but indole is not produced by Shigella soni. Ornithine decarboxylase reaction is negative for A, B, C, whereas positive for D. And coming to serotypes, there are 10 serotypes in Shigella dysenteriae, out of which serotype 1 is the commonest infective, most dangerous type. When we are talking about Shigella dysentery, that is, we are talking about serotype 1. Shigella flexneri, 6 plus variants. Shigella boydii, 15 serotypes. Shigella sonnei, only 1. Now coming to toxin formation, because the pathogenicity is due to toxin formation mainly, and by the infection of the organism. So all gram-negative bacteria, they will produce endotoxin. This will be produced after the death of the organism, not like exotoxin, which is produced by the live bacteria. Here, gram-negative bacilli, after the death, they produce endotoxin, and this endotoxin, the main complex is LPS. Mechanism of action, this endotoxin, lipopolysaccharide complex, is irritable to intestinal wall that leads to diarrhea and intestinal ulcers, and also production of mucus. Coming to exotoxin, only Shigella dysentery type 1 produces this exotoxin and also cytotoxin, but not by other 3 species, that is Flexneri, boydii, and sonnei. So Shigella dysentery type 1 is most dangerous because it produces endotoxin as well as exotoxin. I discussed already what is the problem with endotoxin. Coming to exotoxin, these are 2 varieties. One is enterotoxin, other is neurotoxin. So this enterotoxin acts on the intestinal mucosa, results in fluid accumulation as the action like Escherichia coli enterotoxigenic strains, and also later we are going to discuss in detail in Vibrio cholera how this enterotoxin acts. Coming to neurotoxin, they act on the blood vessels of the central nervous system, leading to neurological complications like polyneuritis, meningism, and coma. Now, what is bacillary dysentery? Because this is the clinical entity produced by Shigella. So, defined as diarrhea, passage of pus, blood, and mucus in this stool, accompanied by abdominal cramps and tenesmus. Tenesmus is severe pain at the rectum after the completion of the passage of feces. Humans are the only natural hosts of Shigella. Source of infection is by cases or carriers like Salmonella. Mode of transmission is by 5 F's. You have to remember 5 F's, that is food, flies, fingers, feces, and fomites. These 5 F's are responsible for the transmission of Shigella from one person to other person. Infecting dose is 10 to 100 organisms. Very few organisms are sufficient to initiate the pathogenicity, whereas if you remember Salmonella, you should take more than 10 to the power of 6 organisms to start the infection. Incubation is less than 48 hours, generally 1 to 7 days, whereas Salmonella, the incubation period is more. Now, if you ingest the contaminated food or drink by cases or carriers by 5 F's, that we have already seen what are 5 F's, that leads to multiplication in the gut lumen, production of endotoxin first leading to diarrhea in the terminal ileum and colon, attachment and entry into the epithelial cells, especially there are special cells called M cells. In those M cells, the multiplication will occur and spread will occur and causing bacterial colonization in the lamina propria leading to ulcers. But these ulcers are superficial, will not reach to other layers like Salmonella, which produce perforation. Here you will not see any perforation. That leads to acute inflammatory reaction in the mucous membrane of the intestines, leading to necrosis, sloughing of epithelium, leading to bleeding. You will see serpiginous ulcers with pseudomembrane. Intervening mucosa is inflamed, edematous, and you will see diffuse involvement. The severity of the illness depends on the infecting species. I told you, most dangerous one is Shigella dysentery type 1. Most severe and fulminating form, toxemia, invasive and non-toxigenic mutants can cause dysentery, whereas non-invasive and toxigenic mutants cannot do so. Other complications due to the toxin is arthritis, toxic neuritis, conjunctivitis, parotitis, intussusception, and hemolytic uremic syndrome that you discussed in Escherichia coli, that forming the thrombocytopenia, hemolytic anemia, acute renal failure, sometimes not attended, leading to death, and disseminated intravascular coagulation, which is also a fatal condition. Shigella flexneri and Shigella boydi, less severe form, prevalent in tropical and subtropical countries. Shigella soni, mildest form of the disease, frequently seen in children. 50 to 80% of the cases are due to Shigella flexneri in India. 8 to 25% of the cases are due to Shigella dysentery type 1, we already discussed. 2 to 24% of cases are Shigella soni, and 0 to 8% of cases are due to Shigella boydi. We have healthy carriers and persistent carriers, which cause for the spread of the infection from person to person. Coming to lab diagnosis, as I discussed every time, lab diagnosis, you have direct evidence and indirect evidence. Here, direct evidence is the microscopy. From the mucous flakes, you can identify the gram-negative bacilli, but that may be Escherichia coli sometimes, so that is not a correct diagnosis. You have to culture the organism from fresh stool, mucous flakes, and rectal swabs. Demonstration of agglutinin antibodies, blood and serum, that is not much important here. Coming to the differences between amoebic dysentery and bacillary dysentery, as you have already discussed in detail in amoebiasis, again we are recollecting. So, coming to differences in pathology, causative agent of amoebic dysentery is Antiumba histolytica. Bacillary dysentery is Shigella species. Here, our bacillary dysentery is Shigella species, but it can be also by enterohemorrhagic Escherichia coli, Vibrio parahemolyticus, and Campylobacter jejuni. Nature of lesion is necrotic due to proteolytic enzyme and suppurative due to diffusible toxins. Depth of ulcer is usually deep, here shallow. Margin of ulcer is ragged and undetermined, uniform, clear-cut or sharp edge. Intervening mucus, normal, inflamed. Type of necrosis at the cellular level, pyknotic, whereas karyotic or karyolysis. Liver abscess is very common in amoebic dysentery, but here it is no or very rare. Cellular response is mononuclear, here polymorphonuclear leukocytes pus cells. Coming to difference in clinical features, onset is slow in amoebic dysentery and acute in bacillary dysentery because the incubation period is very, very less, that is less than 48 hours. Fever is absent in amoebic dysentery, fever is present in bacillary dysentery. Abdominal tenderness is localized, but here generalized because the whole intestine is involved. Tenesmus is absent in amoebic dysentery. Tenesmus is present in bacillary dysentery, that is severe pain in the anal opening after the passage of feces. Coming to macroscopic features of the stool, 6 to 8 motions per day in case of a mid dysentery, and here more than 10 motions. Sometimes a person will enter into the washroom, he will come out, immediately he feels to enter again. Like that, it may be more than 10 motions per day. Relatively dubious, the amount is more, but at each formation of feces is very little amount. Odor is very offensive after passage. Here it is odorless. Color is dark red. Here bright red because of fresh blood passing in the intestines. Nature, blood and mucus mixed with feces. Here the feces formation is minimized. Only at the later stages you will see only blood and mucus. When you see the reaction, the pH is acidic in amoebic dysentery, whereas bacillary dysentery is alkaline. Coming to micro feces, cellularity is very poor, cellularity is very high. RBC is in clumps, reddish yellow in color. Discrete or in Rolex formation with bright red in color. You know what is meant by Rolex? When we keep the coins one over the other, like that, if you keep 10 or 15 coins, that is called roller formation or Rolex formation. Like that, the RBC will form here, whereas that formation is not seen. It will be seen in clumps. Pus cells are scanty here. Pus cells are numerous in bacillary dysentery. Macrophages very few. Here large and numerous. Many of them contain RBCs, hence mistaken for Entamoeba histolytica. Eosinophils are present, but very little or may not be in bacillary dysentery. Pycnotic body is very common. It is nil. Ghost cell nil is numerous. Parasites, you will find tropozoites of Entamoeba histolytica. Here you will not find such things. Bacteria many, motile, scanty, non-motile. Charcoal Claydon crystals present, nil. This is charcoal Claydon crystal. You already seen in the lab diagnosis of amoebiasis. Now bacteriological examination. Culture media, first you will inoculate on selenite F broth. Then after 6 to 8 hours of incubation in selenite F broth, a few drops are inoculated on MacConkey agar, SS agar, and also nutrient agar. From the colonies, you will see smear examination, that is, you will find gram-negative bacilli, and you will prepare motility by hanging drop. You will see non-motile organisms and do the biochemical reactions which we discussed in a tabular form. That is urease citrate, hydrogen sulfide, and casein, they are negative, indolent MR positive, and Shigella soni is late lactose fermentar. Now coming to confirmation of this strain, you have to do slide agglutination test with polyvalent sera of the 4 groups A, B, C, D. If you find agglutination, that means any one of these 4 groups will be present in that colony. So you have to test with monovalent antisera for particular group, and for strains you have to test with type specific antisera. So this slide agglutination with group specific and type specific antisera is very costly and generally not done in normal laboratories. You have to send the specimens to the reference laboratories. You can also do polysen typing, and finally you have to put an antibiotic sensitivity testing. Coming to treatment, mild to moderate cases, only oral rehydration therapy is sufficient. But in case of young, elderly, debilitated and severe cases, you have to give IV replacement as well as antibiotic therapy. And you will find multi-drug resistant strains in Shigella also. Generally, the normal strains are sensitive to ampicillin, cotrimoxazole, tetracycline, nalidixic acid, and ciprofloxacin. Prevention and control, adequate sanitization is very important. And here you remember the 5 F's are responsible for the transmission. One, that is fingers. So you have to regularly wash your hands after defecation. That's what we are doing in COVID-19 infections. Detection and treatment of patients and carriers is very important. So they are the main responsible persons for the transmission of the Shigella. Thank you. Any doubts in this lecture? Any questions from you? No doubts? No questions? Then thank you.